This happened about 2 years ago. Even now, the memory still surfaces from time to time, stabbing at my mind. I'm writing this because I don't want anyone else to experience the kind of danger I did. That afternoon, I was shopping at Trader Joe's when I heard a woman's voice beside me. "Pick whatever you want. I'll cook it for you." At first, I assumed she was talking to someone else. I looked around, but there was no one near me. She was looking directly at me. I was confused. Why would a stranger offer to cook for a man she'd never met? Did she somehow know I lived alone? Then I really looked at her. She was exactly my type. My first thought was that it had to be some kind of prank. I scanned the store looking for anyone filming us, but there were no cameras, just normal shoppers minding their own business. Before I could even respond, she started grabbing groceries and dropping them into my cart. I let out a sigh without realizing it. Half confusion, half excitement. I didn't stop her because I was lonely. When you've been single for a long time, turning down a beautiful woman feels like refusing a fresh pizza after days of starving. Somehow, we ended up with a cart full of groceries and went back to my place together. The moment she stepped inside, she rushed straight into the kitchen and started cooking. A part of me thought, this isn't right. I didn't even know who she was. I should have stopped right then. But another part of me was already imagining a special night. Before long, she had already finished cooking several dishes and started setting them on the table. I told her it looked like way too much food. Then her expression changed instantly. "No," she said flatly. "You're eating all of this tonight." Her eyes were different now. Cold, almost hostile. I froze. She grabbed a fork, twisted a huge clump of spaghetti around it, and shoved it straight into my mouth. The moment it touched my tongue, a searing pain shot through it, like I'd put something burning straight onto my tongue. A harsh chemical smell shot up my nose. I spat it out and yelled, "What the hell is this?" She walked over to the sink, picked up a can of oven cleaner, and smiled. "You put that in the spaghetti?" I screamed. Her eyes widened unnaturally as she replied, "Yeah, your filthy mouth smells like other women. I couldn't stand it anymore." Then she started walking toward me, still holding the oven cleaner. That's when it finally hit me. She wasn't normal. I ran for the front door. Behind me, I heard loud crashing sounds. I glanced back and saw her pulling on a mask and rubber gloves, holding a knife. I bolted outside and called 911 while running. My throat and chest felt like they were burning from the inside. She screamed after me, "Where do you think you're going? You still have to drink the Drano! If you don't stop, I'll cut your legs off!" I ran until my lungs felt like they were going to explode. When I looked back, she was sprinting toward me at full speed, knife in hand. Then I heard sirens. An ambulance pulled up, and I practically jumped inside. Luckily, I had spat the spaghetti out immediately, so I didn't suffer serious physical damage. She was arrested. Later, the police told me the truth. I looked almost exactly like her ex-boyfriend. She believed I was him, and what she did to me was meant as revenge for his cheating. But I had never seen her before that day. Even after being arrested, she insisted I was her ex. She was later found to be suffering from a mental illness. After that night, I suffered from intense social anxiety for a long time. This story didn't happen to me. It happened to my math teacher back in the 1980s. When my teacher, let's call him Joe, was in 5th grade, he was homesick with mono. His parents worked during the day, so he was alone most afternoons. One day, Joe was sitting on the couch watching his favorite game show when the doorbell rang. Back then, you couldn't pause live TV, so he ran toward the door so he wouldn't miss anything. He peeked through the small window by the door and saw a man in his late 30s staring straight back at him. Joe jumped back, but since the man had already seen him, he slowly opened the door a few inches and asked, "Can I help you?" The man said he needed a pen and some paper. Annoyed and eager to get back to his show, Joe ran to the kitchen, grabbed a pen and paper, and handed them to him. As Joe tried to close the door, the man shoved his foot into the gap. "I need somewhere to write a letter," the man said. "Can I come in?" Joe was small, about 70 pounds, and too innocent to realize the danger, so he let the man inside. The man sat at the dining table and began writing. He crumpled up letter after letter before finally keeping one. He thanked Joe and left. Joe locked the door and threw the discarded letters away. Then the phone rang. It was Joe's dad, calling to check on him. Joe told him everything was fine, when suddenly the doorbell rang again. It was loud enough that Joe's dad heard it through the phone and told him to answer the door. Joe opened it. It was the same man. He said he wanted the letters Joe had thrown away. Joe ran to the trash, grabbed the papers, and turned around, only to bump straight into the man. The man had followed him inside. The man sat back down at the table with the letters. Joe slowly walked to the phone and told his dad what was happening. Suddenly, the line went dead. Joe turned and saw the man leaning against the phone, pressing down the button to hang it up, staring directly at him. Joe didn't know it, but since his dad had made the call, he could still hear everything on the other end. I'm not completely sure, but that's apparently how landline phones worked back then. When Joe's dad said he was calling the police, the man bolted out the door. Joe ran upstairs, locked himself in his parents' bedroom, and waited with a rifle until his dad came home. The man was arrested a few miles away. Years later, when Joe told us this story, he said, "That house was completely isolated. If my dad hadn't called, I don't think anyone would have heard me scream."